let me bring you into the courtroom yesterday because it was so dramatic, especially given that the chief had both of these big rulings. This doesn't often happen. He has the assignment power, so he chose to keep both of these to himself. And first he gives this long rendition on something that is very personal to him, the partisan gerrymandering project that he has for years, ever since he became chief and even before, felt like this was an area that judges should not be part of. And he went on for about 8 minutes explaining essentially the culmination of the dream he has had on this, which I think is the more significant thing of yesterday's business, because it will, it will end all these challenges that have been going on nationwide to extreme line drawing that entrenches the party that controls the State House in power. And then Elena Kagan gave this mournful, almost, dissent. She went on for twice as long talking about democracy, as you said, Jeff, quoting the Declaration of Independence, quoting fundamental principles. So there was this pall in the room for this moment. And then we had, a few other items of business. And then the chief says that he has the census case. And because I have studied this man for so long, I know that he does not want to send the same signal all the time. And I thought, he's just reversed the precedent from 1986. He's just gone against where Anthony Kennedy had left the door open for partisan gerrymanders. What is he going to do on census? Is he going to send us two very strong, potentially, Ted, partisan signals? What will he do? And believe it or not, for the first 2/3 of his reading, it was all about why Wilbur Ross could do this. So, everyone down in the press room is already paging through this thing. He didn't get until page 23 that he started to say what was wrong here. So first he says, under the enumeration clause, this is okay. Under the Administrative Procedures Act, this is okay. He's just swatting away all of the challengers' arguments. And I'm thinking, I actually am thinking more about him than the census at this moment, because I'm thinking, what is he doing? And then it was almost a sort of a, by the way, and his voice is much lower at this point than it was in his sort of commanding presence on the gerrymandering decision. And he essentially said, we are not going to be duped. And you can lie to a lot of people out there, but don't go lying to judges. I think all of us understand that this is a man who really believes in the integrity of the judiciary. And he was, there was some dispute among those of us who covered the court closely how much he was going to look beyond the record. And what he did was he looked carefully at the record that Judge Furman had developed and the kinds of statements that had been made in subsequent memos to the lower court by the administration. And he said, you went and told us that the sole reason you were doing this was for the Voting Rights Act. He essentially said, if you hadn't done that, we'd be with you. But you went and did this. And it was quite a moment. It was just a real strong moment. And nobody dissented on that side, although Clarence Thomas, almost invoking a line that has been used on Bush v. Gore, said, what is this, one ticket for one ride only? In the census case, because it was so narrowly written by the chief, even though it was a stronger statement. So to complete the thought on what do we make of Chief Justice John Roberts, he's not going to be boxed in. He's going to write his own rules. He's going to keep people guessing, and he's going to be in control. It's the first time in decades that we have had the individual at the center chair of the court also be at the ideological center of this bench, and so interested in balancing his conservative priorities, like getting rid of challenges to gerrymandering, with this institutional reputation.